As we move toward the end of Black History Month, we're looking at a painful part of our past, redlining. Deanna, redlining was finally outlawed in 1968, but we still see the effects of those policies.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Brett. The greater Rochester area remains largely segregated, but one town council board member wanted to change that. Kevin Spencer Beckford was the first African-American in the history of Pittsford to be elected to its town board in 2017. His experience speaks to progress made and progress yet to be seen.
Rochester, like so many American cities, is deeply segregated. Blacks in the city center, whites in the suburbs. This didn't happen naturally. In cities across America, it happened because of redlining, racist, segregationist policies created and implemented by the U.S. government. Faced with a housing shortage in the mid-1930s, the federal government began a program to increase housing for middle to lower income Americans. The Federal Housing Administration subsidized large housing developments with the requirement that none of the homes be sold to African Americans. The FHA also refused to insure mortgages in and around black neighborhoods, pushing blacks into large urban housing projects.
But in 1968, the president at the time issued an executive order across the United States that says you can't do that. It's a violation of civil rights. Because we literally had says no black people can live, rent, or occupy land here.
But many suburban communities, including Pittsford, found a way around that executive order.
What the town did at the time is really emphasize exclusionary zoning laws on the rest of our land. What means 1 house per acre or 1 house per half acre. So if I'm a developer and I buy 40 acres, I can only put in 40 homes or 80 homes.
Forced with a restriction of building fewer homes, developers priced each home at a higher price.
So therefore, very few African Americans at the time were going to be making enough money to buy those homes because of this artificially inflated price around it.
And he says those old zoning laws were exacerbated by new ones Pittsford passed later, requiring more green space that limited the number of houses even more.
So now it's the reason why if you look at any of our new developments in Pittsford, you could see a 1,700 square foot single-story ranch. It's $500,000.
I checked. I could find only one ranch for sale in a new Pittsford development, but the asking price of this 1,900 square foot house is $640,000. Beckford wanted to make Pittsford accessible to folks of more diverse income levels, and to do that, zoning laws had to change, allowing more homes on smaller lots.
And so when I offered up that amendment, I knew I would lose, because he wasn't going to support it, but I did it anyway because I wanted history to look back at that moment to say, when I had position and power and agency, I used it to create meaningful change.
He says some were enraged by the proposal, so much so he started getting threats.
I got the call the next day from my wife, and she says, honey, our address is on social media.
It was on the neighborhood site next door, and in the comments section, a post that included a clip of an interview with a 1960s desegregationist who said,
"Oh, as a change agent, I expect to be shot, killed, or assassinated. It's just a matter of time." Something along to that effect. She says, Kevin, they posted that next to our address.
Kevin saw that as a veiled threat, as did Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter, who placed deputies outside his home. But still, Kevin remains optimistic about the future, organizing a series of educational celebrations of unity in Pittsford and continuing the fight for change. His message to others who say they value equity and inclusivity:
the people in Pittsford need to know, please don't put a Black Lives Matter sign on your lawn if you're not willing to do the work.
And he says Democrats asked him to consider running for town supervisor, but he says his family members were concerned about safety. Still, he says he's committed to working for change, no matter the position he holds or doesn't hold. Brett.
Wow. All right.